So I just wanted to start with tying together some of the things that have been spoken about this morning and just recently and by Felicia with regards to what the state is doing with the water energy nexus and what the state's goals are with water and energy efficiency. And Felicia also mentioned the fact that my position, as well as the position of my colleague at the Water Board, are actually funded by AB 32 revenues. And so the whole concept of our work is that we are trying to reduce the greenhouse gas intensity of California water, of the water system, and of water supplies. And so obviously the big piece of that is the energy intensity of water supplied and used within the state. And so in terms of the water energy nexus, I'm fully on that side of the coin, which is energy for water, which I thought when I took this position that I was actually taking a much narrower focus than I had in past jobs. But I've recently learned that there's still so many aspects to energy use for water. So how are we trying to reduce the energy intensity of water in the state? Obviously there are a few ways to do that. We could change to less energy intensive water supply sources, such as recycled water, reused water, captured storm water. We can increase the energy efficiency of our water systems. We can also change to renewable energy sources to supply energy for water. And we can increase water use efficiency. And by doing so, we can decrease all of the upstream energy that goes into the water. And I say that I spend most of my time on the water efficiency aspect and trying to value the energy benefit from water use efficiency. So that's what I'm going to spend most of my time on. But I just wanted to give a little bit more context, which is that, we've been talking about all the challenges for actually making progress in this area. And for me, one of the big challenges is that, I'm on this assignment to the Public Utilities Commission in the Energy Division, where we oversee the energy efficiency, renewable, and demand response programs that are operated by the investor-owned utilities. And I know Sam from PG&E was here. He might have just stepped out. But working closely with Sam and others on their programs. And so because of that, I really only am touching or am able to touch the energy supplied by investor-owned utilities, not the rest of the energy sector in California, which is a significant amount. So I just wanted to point that out. And I see that as, sort of one of the challenges in my work, or the limitations of the impact that we're able to have. And then also, the elephant in the room in terms of energy use by the water sector, of course, is the Department of Water Resources and their water system, which we also don't touch. And IOUs no longer provide power to the DWR system. So, in terms of how that system is operated, they're autonomous, and, the other state agencies involved in this sphere aren't really giving input into how DWR operates their system. So those are just a couple things I wanted to note before I went into the nitty-gritty of what I am working on. So we use a lot of jargon, and one of the main challenges in my job is that I have to speak energy to water people and water to energy people. So when I say the current demand side portfolio, that means what we call our demand side energy programs, so efficiency, demand response, and distributed generation renewables, like small renewables. And so currently, we do work with the water sector through our IOU efficiency programs, what we call industrial custom projects, which the wastewater and water agencies are in the industrial category because they're large energy users. So we currently work with them on energy efficiency projects, and also they're huge participants in demand response programs, meaning that they sign up, to use or not use power at certain times of day to help support the grid and support, reducing those peak loads in critical periods. And they do a really good job of that. We also work a lot on water through our local government partnerships that are run through the IOU programs, but sort of the local governments are acting as program implementers. And obviously a lot of water and wastewater agencies are part of a local government. So that's a serious opportunity to get efficiency programs out to water agencies. And then also within our agricultural energy efficiency program, Sam just walked back in. Sam is overseeing those, or is one of the folks overseeing ag efficiency programs for PG&E. And, you know, as we just heard from Karen and others on the last panel, most of the energy used on the farm is for water pumping and for irrigation. So if they want to reduce their energy use and improve their energy efficiency, it's generally related to their water use. We also, our overall goal at the PUC is integrated demand side management, which means you should be doing efficiency, demand response, and on-site renewables together. And so, especially in a water agency, that just makes logical sense. So we would really like, we would like to be encouraging even more of that. And then continuous energy improvement, which is just the concept of, you know, benchmark your energy use, understand where you're using energy, and continuously reduce it. And that's something that is kind of new, actually, in California's demand side energy programs, which was a surprise to me because that's what I was working on like 10 years ago when I was at EPA. So, but we're trying to figure out how we actually incentivize that. So, as you heard a little bit this morning from Lori, the CPUC conducted 3 very comprehensive studies to try and understand the water-energy relationship. I wasn't there, so in no way am I taking credit, but we learned a lot from them. Amul Sath, I don't want to screw up your name, Sateh from Navigant Consulting is also here, and he worked a lot on those studies. And the main takeaways, at least from my perspective, are understanding the energy intensity of different water supply sources. The most surprising, I think, to most people would be the energy intensity of summer groundwater pumping in the Central Valley. It's really significant. And then also some of the things that Ned talked about this morning, like the topographical effect on energy intensity of water supplied to residential customers. And also along with those studies, the CPUC authorized pretty major pilot project study, and these are some of the things that it looked at. It really ran the gamut from commercial landscapes to toilets to looking at water systems and their leaks. And so from that, you know, we also learned a lot. There were some successes and some failures, and so we've tried to learn from those studies what we could be doing in the future that would be cost effective. And hopefully everyone's going to have these presentations somewhere so they can actually click on that link. But if not, email me and I'll send it to you. So just giving you a bit of background, like where are we going? Oops. Sorry, I'm advancing on my... Hello? Oops. Okay, here we are. So about a year and a half ago, the Commission, as follow-up to these studies and pilots, issued a decision with the big overall energy efficiency program, like authorization, for lack of a better term, telling the IOUs that they should be expanding their water energy programs. Basically, telling them that even though we can't yet measure the amount of energy embedded in water and really account for it, we want you to do more projects during this short program period that we're in right now that goes through next year. Specifically, let's look more at these water system improvements and how we can get energy savings from reducing leaks throughout a supply or throughout a distribution system, which sounds pretty basic, like that shouldn't be rocket science, but we had not previously really, or we still have not adopted a method to say, okay, you reduced X number of gallons of leaks throughout your distribution system, and here is the energy savings that you got from that project, and here is how we can count that in our energy efficiency programs. But that was the main focus of the decision, and then also encouraging joint water and energy programs for industrial and agricultural customers. Okay. And the other big piece of the decision, which is the main focus of my job, is to develop a way to analyze the cost effectiveness, which is the CPUC jargon for how we spend your ratepayer dollars effectively on energy efficiency programs. So because the commission has never adopted a way to actually say a gallon of water here equals this number of kilowatt hour in savings, so that if you reduce a gallon, you can claim and verify that you saved a certain amount of energy, we cannot actually value any water efficiency programs as energy efficiency programs. So we were tasked with actually coming up with a way to do that. And then once you've come up with the energy number, then you have to say, what is the value of that number to all the energy ratepayers? So what value does that have to displace, new power generation? What's the value to the grid and various other services? So that is, as I will speak further to in a later slide, the main focus of my work right now. But on the program side, the IOUs have also really been doing a lot just within the past year on developing new water energy programs. And I just thought that this would make all of these concepts a bit more coherent if I gave some specific examples. So Southern California Edison has awarded a contract, or two contracts actually, to looking at leak loss audits and repairs of water systems in Southern California, with quite a few different cities. And so we're hopeful that the results from these projects will be very positive and that they will document significant energy savings from reducing leaks. And San Diego is taking another look at large commercial landscapes and essentially, using new and not emerging, but I think proven technologies to, do more smart irrigation. So actually using weather sensors and using moisture sensors to correctly apply the amount, or to apply the correct amount of water to a large lawn, for example, on a university or another commercial space. Southern California Edison has just launched this cohort model, basically working with a lot of municipal water utilities in Orange County to get them to come together to benchmark their energy use and try to do continuous improvement as a group, which we think will be more effective. And sorry, I don't know if I have a timekeeper, but if somebody wants to let me know, because I know I want to leave some minutes for questions. Okay. So I'm going to wrap up really quickly, but also PG&E is doing a lot. I'm sorry I left this off the slide because I thought maybe it was going to be discussed in the last panel. Has a new pilot looking at the application of water in an agricultural context. And so not just pump efficiency, but actually looking at application uniformity and how we could document energy savings from sort of the next generation of drip irrigation and other types of irrigation. So they're working with CSU Fresno on that project. So what are we doing on cost effectiveness? We have this fantastic group of stakeholders that are participating in a formal process. It's called a project coordination group. Some of them are in the room, so I just want to acknowledge Ronnie Cohen from the California Water Foundation and Sam from PG&E. If I'm missing anybody, oh yes, hi, sorry, and we have DRA Water, DRA Water and Energy, which is our division of ratepayer advocates as well. Numerous nonprofits, academics, the IOUs, and we've been working really hard over the past few months to get out an RFP to actually do the cost effectiveness calculations. So that will hopefully happen very soon. And then once it's completed, we will propose it to the commission for them to consider and then hopefully adopt it. And the idea of this formalized stakeholder process in the beginning is to really get everybody's input up front so that, as I always say, we're not making policy in a bubble, and I'm actually hearing from all the experts before we propose anything to both the public and to the commission. So that's me, and I'm happy to take questions now. And of course, it's very limited time, and I realized I've covered a lot of technical information, but I'm always happy to take questions in the future.
Are there any questions?
We don't, if you don't want to use the blue card for the sake of time. Yep.
Do you know anything that's in the mix on the AB 32 scoping plan, the next revision of that?
Oh.
Has to do with
Yep.
energy?
Good question. So I am on WetCat, what we heard about this morning, and WetCat has proposed basically a draft that was written with multiple state agencies for the AB 32 scoping plan. And so then ARB now has that, and it's sort of up to them to take what we have given them to put it into the scoping plan or not. And so they're in the process. They just had 3 public workshops throughout the state, and I think we're expecting a draft in September. I'm looking around the room to see if other state people can validate that. I believe ARB is planning to have a draft scoping plan either by the end of this month or early next month for public review. Any other questions? Okay.
Meredith, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Meredith, thank you.